Hey, 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 hey. Oh, can y'all hear my music okay? I came in, Natasha, because y'all know I'm in North Carolina and I'm at this training and I am mentally exhausted, but an amazing breakthrough happened today. And I just I'm trying to process it. So I got to talk this thing through. I have cried today. So for y'all who don't know, I'm a therapist and I'm a coach, but I use this particular model called the seed model. And that's one reason why I say that I'm a root therapist. But today, um, our teacher, our trainer, I won't say she's amazing on body language and nonverbal. And so Tasha, what she did was she asked me a question. And so and I didn't have an answer. Hey, Aquay, but I had a weird feeling. So remember, I've always told y'all we don't have any feeling that we have. We may not know what the feeling is, but the feeling is coming from a space. And even though I be sharing y'all with what I'm learning about myself, God is still revealing some things about me. And so I'm learning how not to run from my feelings, but to run to them. And so she asked me some questions and I answered them. And that was yesterday. And so we came back today. And I would say I may be one of the oldest in the group. Our trainers is 70s and 80s, but as far as the people, it's like I think it's 13 or 14 of us in this. We're in this particular cohort. This is the first cohort ever. It's a 3-year training course. Oh boy. So this is what happened. I was asked to be the speaker. Well, no, this is the thing. So it was 5 of us in my group. And, when we was talking about what we've learned, immediately I was like the mama bear. Okay. And one of the people in the training, his name was Marcus. He said something and it broke me down, Natasha, to a point where I cried. And I'm gonna try not to cry now. But it was a lot of us Black people will relate to what I'm about to say. So he said, Rochelle, when I hear you talk, like when you say you're representing the whole, your whole team, I would probably come behind you and say, I agree with everything she says. He said, you have a very motherly figure kind of over you. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I began to cry. Because what I realized, okay, let me ask you this question. You remember I said that your parents are the first people that you love? But they're also the first people that traumatize you. Watch this. Even if the trauma wasn't intentional, it can still traumatize you. And so, what I realized I was doing today, Natasha, that I was mothering people who did not need me to mother them, who did not ask me to mother them. Hey, Jetty. And it took me back. And for me, I told y'all we got to get to the root. And I said, I'm taking on a role that I don't want to take, but I don't know how not to take it. So it took me back to my childhood. And I had said that I'm attempting with my baby sister and my baby brother to be their siblings and not their second mom. Okay. My mom had me and my older brother when she was young. Our dad died. My mother was a widow at 22. But she got remarried later and she had my baby sister Jamil and my baby brother Emil. But we were like 10, 12 years apart. And so they never really looked at me as their sister. They looked at me as their second mom. And because my mom did hair, and if you do hair, the majority of the time you do hair is after work and on the weekends. So because my mom did hair, I had the responsibility of taking care of my siblings, mothering them. But because of that, I have a tendency to mother everybody, even when they're not asking me to be their mother. And so today, while we were talking, I realized that I've never, ever not been in a motherly role, even from my childhood. So much so that I actually, with my baby sister, I think I'm 12 years older than Jamil. And I told her that we're trying to establish, watch this, a sibling relationship. So like when I look at my nieces, they have such a great sister bond. I never had that because I was the oldest sister, but I was so much older than them that I was like their mom. So they never saw me as their sister. They feared me. They didn't want to disappoint me, but I never had the role of a sibling. And even in my therapy world, I have to be very careful because I told my supervisor, I have this thin line that I walk because a lot of my clients have no or bad relationships with their mom. And if I'm not careful, I can be more of a motherly figure than their therapist. So I'm always walking this fine line with my clients and not mother them. And I know it's so many of us out there that are older sisters and that we also took on the mother role. But can I tell y'all that that's tiring and it's exhausting. Being the older sibling, you make yourself responsible for not letting your siblings fall. And that can be a downfall for your siblings because you're trying to protect them from some things that they may need to fall from. But because you don't look at them as your sibling, but you look at yourself as the second mom, you now put yourself into a responsibility that you don't need to be in. So today, Jetty, I broke down. Yeah, it's exhausting. And this is the thing, Sonia. You don't even have the time for yourself. And if you're not careful, your cup gets empty. And because you're the oldest sibling, there's nobody there to fill your cup. And then you get frustrated. And then you get exhausted. But then you don't even realize you're doing it until you're exhausted. And then you end up doing this. You become the savior for your friends. You take on you're the motherly figure at your job. And you don't know how to shut this motherly instinct off, all because as a child, you was never a kid. Like I look at it, I was able to play, sports, but I know that it wasn't intentional because I had to help my parents. But when you put a kid, just hear me. When you put a child in an adult role, it can damage them. I never forgot. I shared this one time that I was a kid myself. Well, God, you know what, Sonia? I guess I was meant to come on today because I was trying to figure out what to do with this. But I remember, you guys, now memories are coming forth. And I'm glad God was covering me. I never forget, we lived in Jackson, and Emil was a baby. But my mom had to go to work, and my dad either was working 3 to 11 shift. So when I got out of school, I'm watching my baby brother. And I would never forget that he was crying. I'm 9 years old. And I couldn't stop him from crying. And I remember, Sonia, I remember shaking him because, mind you, I'm 9 years old, trying to stop an infant from crying. And I couldn't, but I don't have the tools to handle his tears. Or I couldn't figure out why or how to make him stop crying. So I remember shaking him. Mind you, I'm 9. I remember shaking him, saying, "Stop crying, stop crying, stop crying." And I just thank God that God covered me because I was a little kid put in that situation because my parents had to work. That's traumatizing. And so many of us, right now are forcing our children to be the parents of their siblings. And that's not their job. They can't handle the mental capacity, but it's not their responsibility to be a parent because they don't have the brain width to handle being a parent. So today, Aquay, I had to take this long breath. And what this was, so Sonia, what was crazy was they gave me a space to cry because when he said it, and I looked at my group and I said, I'm parenting them. These are all adults. Watch this. And they didn't ask me to be their parent. But that's the only role that I've ever known. So when God helped me connect the dot, I just broke down. I mean, I just cried. And I was like, I'm going to release this. And Sonia, I did not realize how much that affected me until I gave myself permission today to cry. Y'all, I'll be 59. And that's still little pieces of me. So when I say you are the treat of your childhood, I'm happy that God has given me the tools. As I always tell y'all, don't run from your feelings. Run to them. Because that's where your healing starts. So I had to realize today that that little piece of me, I've done a lot of healing. I've connected a lot of dots. But this parentification that was thrust upon me, not by choice, but by force, it still affected me to this day. So I felt I needed to share it, but I needed to get it out of my head and process it. I thanked the man, his name is Marcus. I thanked him because if he hadn't asked me that question, I would have never connected the dot. Remember, I kept saying everything we do. So the stuff I'm telling y'all, I'm just coming transparently because I do not want to be deemed a hypocrite. So the stuff that I share with y'all, I do the work. But this is how you do the work. You sit in it. And you let that little girl come forth. Or you let that little boy sit in what you're feeling. And what was crazy, Aqua, was that I did this breath. Like I went, and it just, it was crazy. But I didn't run from it. They gave me a space to just sit in it. And some of y'all need to sit in y'all stuff because that's where you're healing. So, Sonia, you need to sit in some stuff. And what I like about this model, Jetty, the biggest thing about this model is, watch this, you have to walk in your truth. All of it. So today was my breakthrough moment of realizing that I need to start mothering people. And this is the other part. Remember I tell you we're energy? And that's why when I talk to my supervisor, I tell her that it's such a fine line for me. Because all of the clients that I have, they have a motherly, right? So I'm frequency. So I've realized I'm attracting people who have mama issues. But what I have to do is ask God to help me walk the line, because I've always acknowledged it. I haven't denied it. And I'm always talking to my supervisor of how I'm walking this tightrope, because I don't want to be their mom, but I need to give them motherly love while I'm their therapist. It is, Sonia. It is. And so now what I have to do, y'all, you have to Now that I know that, watch this, I've become aware of that, right? I have to wait, and then I have to step back, um, and sit back, and I have to be conscious of um, not doing that. And so I thought that was an interesting thing. So I came on mainly um, talking about the parentification of our children. I've always said it is that let me find out what she said. I don't think we understand. I don't think we understand the harm we do to our children. Watch this. When we don't allow them to be children. Whew, let me say that again. I don't think we understand the damage that we do to our children when we make them be grown before their mind is equipped to handle adult things. Their brain haven't developed. And then we actually get upset with the children when they make children mistakes. What was you thinking? They wasn't. They 10. How did you let the kid get burned on the fire? What? Because they're kids. Parentification of our children. I'm not saying that our kids can't babysit. That's not what I'm saying. But they're smaller children is not their kids. And some of y'all, and I don't know who this is for, some of y'all have kids and actually be upset because that the kids don't want to be parents. And they're not. And then your kids resent their siblings because they don't see them as their siblings. They see them as their children that they did not have. So as I look now at 58 and my baby sister's in her 40s, we are just now establishing a sister to sister relationship. I had to give her permission. And it was new for her. And it was new for me because she never saw me as her sister. She saw me as her second mom. So I just wanted to share that. Today has been a day, baby. Whoo. So that's all I wanted to share. But I just wanted to let y'all see I'm doing the work too. So when I be talking to y'all in the morning, I'm not lying to y'all. So I got some more work to do. It's 9 o'clock here. But I've been listening. When they say extensive, I got in Friday. Saturday was 9 to 6. Sunday was 10 to 6. Rest of the week is 9 to 5. And this is the thing, Jetty. I do feel lighter. But watch this. I didn't even know that it was there. Hear me out. I got healed from something that I wasn't even realizing I needed healing from. And this is one of the things, Jetty, about this model. It is with the mind, the body, the soul, or the essence of you. And what the essence of you is, that's your soul. When you carry a feeling, but you can't connect it to something, um, but that means that feeling is connected to something that you just can't connect yet. I hope this makes sense what I'm saying. Let me give you this example. Um, Say, for instance, if I said something to you, like for instance, me having a motherly spirit, I didn't realize how heavy it was until he said what he said, and it just popped. And it was like somebody took their foot off my chest. So what I realized, Jetty, is that that foot been on my chest since I was a child. And because I normalized the heaviness of the foot, that I didn't even know that it was a foot on my chest anymore. And I didn't know how heavy it was until he said what he said. And when he said what he said, it literally took the foot off my chest. And that's why when I told y'all it was hard for me to breathe, I literally was like this. I went, and just tears fell because it was removed off my chest. And that's a lot of us around here. So, Sonia, um, I don't, even for me to do this, I was like, God, ain't nobody gonna show up. But if nobody has showed up for you, if nobody showed up but you, um, then this this was for you, and it wasn't done in vain. Because I was like, why am I getting on? But I was like, I need to share. I hope people make sense of what I'm saying, and this is also what I'm saying. I never once said, and I said what I said, and I mean what I mean, is that we were traumatized, even if it wasn't intentional. So my mom and dad having to work was something that they had to do to make me at 9 years old to begin to take on the responsibility of an adult traumatized me. And the reason it takes us so long to acknowledge this, because we try to defend something that's not defendable. Yes, my mother and father loved me to death, but they put a responsibility on me that I was not mentally capable of handling at 9 years old, at 10 years old. And because that responsibility was forced upon me at that age that I wasn't mentally able to handle it, it has damaged me to this day because I did not realize how it was affecting me as an adult. So I'm done. Whew, the first two people that we fall in love with are the first two people that traumatize us. Even if it was, and this is a thing, because this is what I hear us Black people say all the time. Rochelle, they was doing the best they could. It's true, but it still traumatized me. Say that because the reason I have to say it that way, Jetty. Hey, Deanna, Brandy. The reason I have to say that, Melinda, that way, Sonia, because watch this, and this is the part y'all gotta grab, and I promise y'all I'm done. If y'all got any questions, if anybody want to come up, I dropped the link if you want to just talk to me about it. But you have to be, Sonia, you have to come to YouTube side. I can't invite you up on StreamYard in Facebook. But just hear me what I'm saying. If I don't acknowledge that traumatized me because I'm going to defend my parents, what I'm telling myself without even saying it is how I feel does not matter. Hear me? Did y'all hear what I just said? I said, I'm going to drop the link. If anybody want to come up, you can. If I don't address, y'all got to get this. If I don't address how it made me feel, I'm telling myself, without telling myself, that how I feel does not matter. And when you think you don't matter, that goes into every aspect of your relationships. You don't think you matter with your husband. You don't think you matter with your wife. You don't think you matter with your boo. You don't think you matter with your booette. You don't think you matter with your job. You don't think you matter with your friends. You don't think you matter with your kids. Because every time you negate how you feel, you are telling yourself that how you feel does not matter and how I feel is not important. I matter. My feelings matter. So what I held in today, I have been holding that for, oh Lord, for almost 50 years. That was an exhale I exhaled. That took me 50 years to even acknowledge it, to admit it, and then I had to release it. Okay. Yes, I'm trying to help somebody today. Okay, well, I did, for anybody that was on YouTube, I did drop the link if you want to come up. I don't see nobody coming up. I'm about to end it. But I had to let you know that. And can I just share this with y'all parents? For some reason, we think because they are our parents, that gives them the right to hurt our feelings. Thank you, Jenny. How many times have we said, even in our adult age, our parents can say some of the craziest stuff to us, and we'll bite our bottom lip till we bleed, and we just give our parents all the rights in the world to say crazy stuff to us as if we don't have boundaries, as if we don't matter. But the truth of the matter is, the only reason our parents is doing that mess to us is because it was done to them, and now you're doing it to your children. But if you want to break a generational trauma, generational dysfunction, you got to call that stuff out and say, Mama, I love you, but you just can't talk to me that way. Mama, I love you, but I'm your adult child. And that stuff you saying to me is not acceptable, because this is how we continue this dysfunction. Because that's your mama, that's your daddy. It doesn't give them the right to say the things that they say, because every time they say that, it belittles you. Okay, I'm done. Does anybody want to come up? I had to listen. I had to apologize to my son. I had to apologize to him. Some of y'all need to apologize to your children, because your kids need to know that they matter. I'm talking about your adult children, your small children. Parents, you make mistakes. Why do you think you can't apologize? Okay. I did drop the link. Okay. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. Yeah. And that other part, when I say we traumatize, for us to think we don't matter, it starts at home. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. Hey, Deanna, thank you so much. So I love y'all with the what? With the love of the Lord. And I want to leave this up, and I pray that it helps somebody. But Sonia, I'm glad that it helped you. Okay. Y'all have a good night. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.